So the cluster thing is happening again. Just a lot of projections all in a row that have to do with my job or mission or task here. A couple days ago I had one of my most amazing projections to date. Before I start, I'll mention that it always rather tickles me when I pull a name out of these projections, and this is one of the ones in which I got a name. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anyone watching here by this name, although I know that the name is likely primarily a metaphor. It would still be interesting to know if there's anyone here watching by this name. The most amazing thing about it is just that I'm losing my fear. So in the projections, when I show up in an environment that I have no idea where I am, I'm just beginning to feel more casual and relaxed about it. And when I'm interacting with beings in this reality, dream characters or whatnot, also very casual and very playful, testing the situation and things like that. But I consciously made this shift, meaning it happened from awake state. So I consciously watched myself go through the shift, which I've described to you on many occasions, and without losing any consciousness at all, arrived fully in this particular non-physical environment. I'm in a residential neighborhood. I'm standing on the curve of a cul-de-sac and looking up into the sky, and just sort of normal looking. However, there is a large, huge tree branch with autumn-colored golden reddish leaves on it, just floating up in the sky. I'm just sitting here looking at this thinking, whoa, because my level of lucidity is extremely high. And so this is identical to my waking reality, with the exception that I can feel much more vibrationally when I'm here, which makes it even more real. I just start walking up the street and almost immediately stop myself short because I left out a bit of the story here. After I saw the tree to my right, up a driveway, I can see a man, perhaps in his late 20s, early 30s, talking with someone. And I had stopped myself from proceeding up the street because I decided I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk with the people there. So I turn around, and by the time I have them in my line of sight, the person that I originally saw is already waving me over. And I get to the top of the drive, and he's smiling and introducing himself to me as David Sparks. I come in and I sit down between him and another man who apparently is his business partner. And David, diving immediately in, asks me, so what part of you do you think is responsible for getting you this job? I'm looking at him, I'm smiling and laughing to myself because, of course, I have no idea what job he's referring to. And so I look over at the man on my left and I ask him, so what is it I'm going to be doing for you? And he opens his mouth as if to reply, but he's hesitating. And so I'm just sort of looking back and forth between he and David in this sort of awkward moment of silence, and decide to test again. I look to the man on my left and I say, when will I be starting? Now, while all of this is happening, a young woman has arrived, and she sat down here, and this is apparently the man on my left's girlfriend. And she starts to answer my question. She says, maybe in about a year or so. And she's sort of continuing, going on to explain to me why there is a variance in the time frame for the start date. Now at this point I think I'm realizing that these are dream characters, and so I decide to get in my purse and get a notepad and write down a few key things that I didn't want to forget when I got back to the physical reality. So I get in my purse, just like the purse I really carry. I get a notepad out that is the same exact notepad that I have in my purse. Same thing with the pen. And I'm writing down, a few things. I notice that the words are actually staying in place. A lot of times when you're in the astral, they don't. So you'll write something down, but then you'll look back at the word and all of the figures morph and shift on you. But on this occasion, the words were staying put, just as I had written them. And as I'm reading them back to myself, the environment changes. Now, often, as I've also mentioned to you before, when the environment shifts on me, rather than me shift from environment to environment, this is very challenging for me to stay lucid through. And although I lost a bit of lucidity and then came back into full lucidity, I did a really good job, not losing consciousness here altogether. Now I'm in the back seat of a black car with David, who is again sitting on my right, and he's leaning in toward me, saying, "Just one more thing," and it looks like he's trying to kiss me, like he's leaning in for a kiss. And when he does this, due to my physiological or biological response to this, I get this swift telepathic message through my mind that an affair with the boss is not a good idea. But the magnetism that I'm feeling here is so palpable, so strong, and we're just sort of playing with the energetics of it without really doing anything, without crossing any line. And as this is continuing, I shift again and come back into my physical room. So it doesn't sound much to relay some of these, I know, but the thing that you have to remember is the degree of lucidity makes or breaks the whole thing. When lucidity is super strong, I'm receiving information on so many different levels that the degree of reality is just striking. It's something that I've not experienced much in the physical reality. It's not anything that any of us have experienced much in the physical reality yet. Some of us are beginning to, more and more of us are beginning to. But it just makes the reality so much more dimensionally rich. This is what makes it so powerfully amazing and so powerfully wonderful. But okay, another one about my job or task or mission here. And although I didn't get much information, these are continuing to play out and happen.